Hello, good afternoon and welcome to this webinar on collaboration to become more water resilient in Newcastle. I'm Paul Shaffer, I'm from CIRIA and I coordinate the work that we undertake on urban water management and also blue-green infrastructure. Part of our work includes us supporting academia and universities with reaching and engaging with practitioners, and this is part of that work. This webinar will be showcasing a small portion of the work that's been undertaken as part of an academic project on achieving urban flood resilience in an uncertain future. Emily, one of our speakers, is going to provide an overview of the project and explain where collaboration and the learning alliances can be helpful in delivering blue-green infrastructure and water resilience. So in terms of a background to the webinar, we know that delivery of blue-green infrastructure and water management in our cities is quite complex. It involves a number of different disciplines, organisations, all with their own approaches to delivering and managing assets. When faced with some of this complexity, or what's also termed as wicked problems, a more collaborative approach to problem solving is often required. And one of these approaches is the use of a learning and action alliance. This approach provides a framework for engagement and can facilitate a shared understanding between all those involved, helping support learning and innovation. And Emily will cover this in more detail. We hope in this webinar you understand more about the opportunities and challenges of collaboration, particularly around the management and benefits of learning and action alliances when looking at water management. This webinar itself follows on from a webinar we did last month about the Learning Action Alliance happening in Ebbsfleet, and the videos for that webinar are already on the susdrain YouTube channel. Also, if you're interested in securing better water management outcomes through planning, on Thursday we'll be having a webinar on using the planning system to deliver better water management. So, moving on to today's agenda, we've got three really great presentations giving different views of the Local Action Alliance. This webinar is going to be recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel in the new year. At the moment, your microphones have been muted, but we are really keen to have your questions. So please use the questions dialog box on the webinar software to type your presentations, and hopefully there will be enough time for us to go through these questions at the end of each presentation and also at the end of the discussion. So in terms of the agenda, I'm covering the introduction at the moment. Emily O'Donnell from the University of Nottingham will provide an overview of establishing, coordinating and overcoming the barriers when delivering the Newcastle Learning Action Alliance. Darren from Newcastle City Council will provide a presentation on the role of the Learning Action Alliance in terms of managing flood risk. And then finally, Stina Nasapan-Watson from Northumbrian Water will provide a presentation that summarises how the Learning and Action Alliances move from collaboration to action, and talk about some of the key achievements of the Newcastle Learning Action Alliance and how that's helped the water company. So we may not be able to stick to the precise timings in your agenda, but we do aim to finish at 2 o'clock. So I will now pass you over to Emily, who will go into a lot more detail about the approach used in the Learning Action Alliance.